Right, good afternoon, everyone. It's awesome to see you joining us at this exciting relaunch of JoGEA, which is the Journal of Geography Education in South Africa, or for Africa, actually. That's where the whole changes come in. It's now for Africa, which is hugely exciting. So the agenda for this afternoon will include the housekeeping, which I'm going to do very quickly, then an introduction and demonstration, the editor's input, questions and thanks, and then we'll close. So we're really excited that you've joined us. Please stick around. A friendly request. Sorry, I've got to get my laugh in for the day quickly. Please keep your videos and sound off just to allow for better streaming, although there's not too many people on today, but it does just make it easier sometimes for you as well. You're welcome to ask questions in the chat. If you don't know where the chat is, please just look along your little icons and find it. It's great for us to keep a record of the questions that are asked as well. And at the end, then there will also be a question and answer session where you could ask anything you'd like to. So please make yourself comfortable, grab whatever you would like. And then it's over to Clinton. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the relaunch of JoGEA. We say relaunch because, as you know, the Journal of Geography Education for Southern Africa has been going since 2017. In 2014, when the Southern African Geography Teachers Association was launched, which is affectionately known as SAGTA, the journal was born out of that initiative a couple of years later, when we decided to try and get academics as well as teachers to participate in best practice and also just putting geography education on the map in terms of academic input and academic enterprise. So thank you very much for all of you that are here today. I see we are growing. A quick little introduction from my side and the demonstration of what JoGEA is all about happen now. So just bear with me while I share my screen with you. All right, so as many of you will know, if you have Googled SAGTA in the past, the Southern African Geography Teachers Association, and you have visited our website, all along the top, there's a little tab called the e-journal, our electronic journal. We decided, I think 1 or 2 years into the process, to make it an electronic format, which is more accessible to people. But we did produce 1 or 2 hard copies at special occasions like a conference and that sort of thing. But you'll see we are an electronic journal because we have an EISSN number. So if people come and visit the e-journal tab on our SAGTA homepage, as they would have normally done, they're going to land on this page, which basically explains to them what JoGEA is and how it works, and also just some of the guidelines or the expectations we have of people, be they teachers or academics, methodologists, district officials, anyone who's got an interest or a stakeholder in geographical education is welcome to submit to the journal. But what's very exciting is, and why we're relaunching it now, is that the University of Pretoria is hosting us on an open access journal, because this has become an open access journal where there are no subscription fees required to be able to access the content. And we encourage our potential authors or contributors to visit the website. And you can see the hyperlinks are over here. I'm going to take you quickly through to the UP Journal's webpage just to show you what that looks like. All right, so I hope I'm still visible on that side, Yannicka. This is the UP Journal's homepage, and you'll see they've started hosting a number of different journals on this platform. And basically, we've joined quite a nice suite of journals. You'll see us here just above the Pretoria Student Law Review. There's the Journal of Geography Education in Africa's sort of introductory page. Once they click on either of these tabs or active links, they're going to be taken to the specific page for the Journal of Geography Education in Africa, or known as JoGEA. And you'll see here, the default page is our current issue, which was published a few days ago, although this is the 2020 issue, so that's why we've backdated it to the 30th of October 2020. And here we've got 5 academic articles by various authors. One person there is a geography teacher, and the others are predominantly academics working at various institutions in Southern Africa. But what's very nice is that we've also instituted a different section called the Review Forum, which is for shorter based articles, less than 5,500 words. So best practice articles can be submitted under what will be called the Review Forum section, but fully fledged academic papers where there's been either fieldwork or some secondary research based on data, and articles of between 5,500 or 8,000 words maximum, they will be housed here under the article section. And you'll see here, if we just visit one, for example, our first article here is by Dr. Teresa Dersevite. She's from the University of Department of Geography, and they form part of the School of Ecological and Human Sustainability. So it gives the reader a quick breakdown in terms of keywords, and if they want to see what the article is about, the abstract is there. If they want to now physically go ahead and read the article, they then just click on the PDF, which will then either appear on their browser or they'll be able to download it onto their computer. And this essentially is what the articles then will look like. This is our template and the way that we've structured the output in terms of the article's front page with the abstract keywords, and then the article itself follows from there. So we're very excited about this new platform that we're on, because people will also be able to go and visit our past issues. And what we've done is we are reapplying for the Department of Higher Education and Training accreditation this year. The submission has been made already. It was due on the 15th of June already, and we managed to meet that deadline. But you can see here, we've rejigged or reconfigured some of the articles with the permission of the various authors into 2 other back issues. So we start with volume 1, which is the 2018 edition. And you can see here, Prof. Dar Walmart and various other people, colleagues across Southern Africa have published papers. We've also got a review forum piece there from some work that Dr. Massey did with one of her students when she was still at the University of Free State. She's now abroad in the UK. And if they want to see any of our archives or previous issues, here's the 2019 issue. This also has only just, this was what was our special issue back in the day for JoGEA. We've put all those papers where there was a special issue guest edited by Dar Walmart and Professor Sahana Manik from the UKZN. We've put those 5 papers up here. And then over time, we will add the best practice articles to each of these as they were published originally in JoGEA. But we're just waiting and we're just working on the accreditation first, or getting that feedback from them before we add those in. The About panel here has got all the details about who's on the editorial team, what the policy is, and how you go about submitting the paper. But what's nice about the paper submission process now is that it's a purely online and trackable process where you register as a user, and then you just tick all the boxes, read the guidelines, look at the style sheet and what we require you to do, and then you make your submission electronically onto the system. So there are various people on the editorial board. I'll quickly show you that page. Myself and Teresa Dersevite from the University of South Africa are the editors-in-chief. And then various people from across the world, and in fact, many schools across South Africa make up our editorial board, or what we call the Journal Advisory Committee. If anyone would like to join these boards or committees in your capacity as a teacher or a geographer, please just send us a 2-page abridged CV and an application via email, and we will consider you for the editorial board or for becoming a member of our advisory committee. People on this committee typically get sent best practice articles to read, where teachers are trying to turn what they do in their classroom into a little academic paper. It is peer reviewed by some of these editorial board members, obviously blindly. They don't know who the authors are. And in fact, we have a double blinded peer review process when it comes to the journal. You'll see in our little preamble there, we do say that it is double blinded and that we are an open access journal. So people don't have to pay subscription fees or page fees, as they used to be known, for the academics in the room. Other than that, we're very excited. Please go and visit our platform, and it's quite accessible. If you just go to the SAGTA's webpage, it's very easy to get it from there. And we look forward to receiving papers in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe that Teresa should be speaking now, but I don't see her online. Is she online? Can you see
oh, I don't see her there. No, I don't see her there either. We can maybe take a couple of questions if there's any questions from anybody. And then if she doesn't appear, then I will speak.
Okay.
Are there any questions or anything from the floor?
If I'm just a teacher, how do I start?
If you are a teacher.
If I'm just a teacher and I like the idea of writing something, but I have no background in it, how do I start?
All right, so there's nothing like just a teacher. All teachers are experts in their own right, and everyone has their own experience and brilliance to contribute. So you can happily email either myself or Teresa Dersevite at UNISA. The email addresses are on the website where you read about the journal, and just bounce your idea off us. What we're planning on doing over the next couple of weeks to month is starting a support group or a mentorship program where we can mentor up-and-coming academics as well as emerging scholars, or even humble geography teachers who are experts themselves in writing up their best practice or trying to research something about their teaching in their classroom, and sharing that with us in the journal. It'll obviously go into the review forum section of the journal, because it's a shorter article, most likely. It won't be as much as 5,500 words. But we hope that teachers will at least still do a little bit of a literature review. They will write up the methodology or the process that they underwent in researching their best practice, or how this excellent lesson or field trip or brilliant idea came about. And then we will help them shape it into a short academic article between 2,000 and less than 5,500 words for that section. Obviously, if you want to write more than that and you've got a fully fledged 5,500 word paper or more, then you can easily submit it to the academic section of the paper, and we will happily send it out for double-blinded peer review, and experts in the field will then blindly read your work, not knowing who you are as the author, and offer some constructive criticism and suggestions and some helpful ideas in terms of encouraging you or turning your work into an academic piece. All right, if there are any other questions, feel free to pop them into the chat bar if you don't want to unmute yourself and talk. But thank you so much for all the comments and the lovely congratulatory messages that are going there into the chat bar. We appreciate that very much. I'm not sure what has happened to Teresa, but she has worked her fingers to the bone in the last couple of weeks getting these papers ready for uploading. So I think she may have collapsed and is sleeping somewhere out of sheer exhaustion and hard work. which I'm sure most of us are exposed to at this point in time. Maybe if I go back to the page and just talk you through some of that again, you'll see on our journal, which we're probably going to have to maybe extend a little bit, we're trying to put out, and I think this is what she would have spoken to had she been here, we want to put out a special issue. It would have been published this year, the 30th of October, but if we don't get enough papers about assessment practices in geography and how this is unfolded in terms of your experience with online teaching or a virtual pedagogy, then we may move this across to October 2022, depending on whether or not we get enough papers or not. At the moment, we've got a couple of submissions of papers. 3 papers are in review already for the October 2021 issue, which will come out by the 30th of October this year. But none of those 3 necessarily relate to assessment per se. So we are looking at a special issue about assessment practices in geography. And if you just visit that little announcement tab on the UP JoGEA portal, you'll see some of the thematic ideas and the areas we want people to think about or focus on. So if you know of anyone in the field who is an expert in assessment in geography, be it at secondary or high school, and then also at tertiary level, please encourage them. I will send out this link again. Dave Gear, yes, has volunteered an assessment paper. Thank you, I forgot about that. But he's busy writing that at the moment, so he hasn't submitted it yet. And that's why it sort of went out of my memory for a few minutes there. But any other papers on assessment and good assessment practices, particularly under COVID, and how we've had to practice an online pedagogy and how that affects teaching and learning when it comes to assessment, is what we want to try and showcase in this issue of this specific special issue. The deadline for submission of abstracts is at the end of this month, on the 30th of June there. But we may, like I said, if we don't get enough papers this year, publish it next year as the 2022 issue. What's nice now, however, about this new platform is that we can publish as we go. So in other words, what will happen is if, let's say, Dave's article comes through and it's been through the peer review process and the 2 peer reviewers are happy, he's done his corrections, it's come back to us, we've read it again, and we like what he's done and how it's changed, then we will publish it online as what we call a online first article. So in other words, it will belong to the October 2022 issue, but it'll be published the moment it's ready and live, and it will go live for the world to read and experience and enjoy. So what's nice about this platform is that as soon as something is available, we can physically put it up and it will be published in real time and before the sort of due date necessarily of a specific issue or a particular volume. We're hoping to publish 1 volume a year. You'll see we've gone for an annual publication date of 30th of October annually. So our new sort of hope is that we can have 5 academic papers up by the 31st of October as the current issue. It will then default to that then when people visit the page, and those specific articles as they pop up will be populated here in page order, and then they will physically appear here. What we are encouraging academics to do, so let me show you another example. For example, this article about odor assessment and the effect that odors have on teaching and learning, who our colleagues from Wits University have contributed. All papers will get a digital object identifier. So in other words, this distinguishes you from all sorts of other people who may have the same surname as you. But what we want people to do once they write is to physically register with ORCID or have an ORCID number. And you can see here, it's that sort of 16-digit 4, 8, 12, 16, yeah, my maths is right, 16-digit number, which this is basically your academic identity number as a human being participating in the academy. All academics are supposed to have an ORCID number, an ORCID, however they want to pronounce it. It's not spelled like orchid, but most people just say ORCID. And that number then will appear on your paper. It will then obviously be recognized by Google Scholar and all the other independent universities can also use. You can register for that as well. Good question there from Dave. Basically, you just need some sort of an affiliation, and you can use SAGTA as your affiliation. I'm sure it will work. I must just investigate that a little bit. So let me look into that for you, Dave, and then I'll come back to you with the definitive answer there. I'm just guessing at this stage and using wishful thinking. But you'll see here we've gone for a 2-column approach for the articles because it's nice to read. And we've got the people who do this for us developing a template, which authors will then download as a Word document and physically type their article in the correct format, because we've got headers and footers and all sorts of things where we want your name on the one page, the ISSN or the digital object identifiers beneath. And also you can see we are under Creative Commons license, right? Then the second footer is always the journal's edition, the number and the page numbers that your article takes up in the issue. And then obviously we do accommodate for things like footnotes or endnotes if you have to do stuff in footnoting and endnoting. But we will obviously get a copy editor to do things like putting your pictures in the right places and the format of that so that it doesn't mess up the running format of the document, diagrams, graphs, figures, whatever, right? You want to put in there, photographs will obviously be accommodated. You can see some nice graphs here from the Evans et al. Paper, and some of their research results has been graphically demonstrated here for people as they read. The one thing we want to institute going forward is that at the end of the conclusion, beyond acknowledgements and those sorts of things, once you've spoken about any potential people who would have funded your research, etc., between that end bit and the beginning of the reference list, we do want another section where about the author will be accommodated, and we can learn a little bit about who the people are that have written this, where you work, what your affiliation is, and what your research interests or expertise is all about. Because at the end of the day, we ultimately want to develop a community of practice by getting more and more people to engage with, read, and get involved with JoGEA as well. Any other questions about the sort of site itself or the submission process? Otherwise, we are marching on in terms of time, and I know that we still have Pam who's going to say a few words from SAGTA's perspective as well. We were only meant to do this until 4:30. Otherwise, I think, Pam, we can hand over to you if you want to make your inputs. Let me stop sharing, sorry.
Right, it gives me great pleasure that we are launching JoGEA, relaunching our journal, our e-journal. One of the most important things was when we were considering the relaunch was to rename it. And I know it was Teresa's idea to come up with looking at Africa. It seemed to make more sense to open it up. After all, Southern Africa is part of Africa. And this whole platform is an emerging writers platform. Really, it's to try and encourage and enable young academics, students, teachers who want to write, as well as our seasoned academics, to contribute to this geography journal. And I really believe this is the way forward. So I really have to give so much thanks to Teresa, Dr. Teresa Durasawait, for all her energy, input, originality in getting this going. She's really been amazing. And then also to say thank you to Dr. Clinton van der Merwe, who's always been at the helm of this. And I know sometimes he got a little bit tired of it because we seem to be hitting our head with all the registrations and that, but I think we've taken the right route. And I really believe that JoGEA can only go forward. Then the lady behind the scenes is Heather Tainsma. And she is the communications manager for the Faculty of Humanities at UP. And she's been our go-between. She's been the one who's been instrumental in getting it all set up as smoothly as it has happened. And I think within record time. So I did chat to her this morning. She was unable to be here, but I did say I would be thanking her on behalf of SAGTA. So I think SAGTA is making good vibes. We're going places, and good luck to everybody who writes. And we really encourage teachers to put forward their best practice. I think there's such a lack of material and ideas shared in a short review or short paper format. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity and platform for us to do it. So well done, everybody. And to Inika, who always so professionally manages our platform, our online platform, the Zoom meetings, thank you very much for all your input. And I think that's all I've got to say, Clinton.
Thanks, Pam, that's great. I think before we wrap up and call it a day, something I neglected to mention, which I think is important to articulate now, is that we're not only applying for the Department of Higher Education and Training accreditation. The academics in the room will know that to get subsidized for your research and recognized for performance management and all sorts of things in terms of promotion, you have to publish in accredited journals that give back to your research funding and get the university money. So we are now also in a position to apply for the Directory Open Access Journal accreditation. And just this year, in February, earlier this year, the Department of Higher Education and Training announced that they are willing to recognize all the journals that are listed or housed on the Directory Open Access Journal platform. So if we manage to get ourselves as a recognized Directory of Open Access Journal, or DOAJ, as it's affectionately known, listed and recognized and registered, then we will automatically be accredited for DHET subsidy, and academics all across the world can write and enjoy the benefits that come with publishing in an accredited journal as well. Other than that, thank you from my side for being here today, and we're going to keep it to time, so I'll allow Inika to conclude.
Thank you, Clinton, and thank you to everyone for joining. Cheers, Clinton, and good luck with all the hard work ahead. We want to thank everyone for joining. This recording will be made available, and I'm sure if you're not quite sure how to do it, Clinton is very happy to help, as is Teresa. So please contact them. Thank you. Have a lovely afternoon. Enjoy your whatever you're having.